Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my Friday morning editions of Coffee and Conversations. I go on live in my Facebook group every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific to talk about race, racism, allyship, cultural inclusivity, cultural intelligence, and just to share knowledge and resources and experiences with you. So, my name is Eva Medilek. For those of you who don't know me or don't know much about me, I am a certified high performance coach, but I'm also a cultural inclusivity coach, which means that I help leaders and teams create a space for cultural intelligence so that we can all come together and have these discussions and be culturally inclusive at home, at work, and in our communities. So today, what something came to my mind this morning, and it was about swimming and my camp experiences and the fact that I never learned how to swim. We had one public pool where I was growing up in Paterson, New Jersey. It was the Lou Costello pool. If any of you are old enough or know a little bit about Abbott and Costello, Lou Costello grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. And so we've always had memorials to him there because he was really one of our first famous residents in Paterson, New Jersey. And the other night, my husband and I were laying in bed, and I asked him to pick a Netflix movie, and he picked one when I came out of the bathroom getting my skincare regimen on. He picked a movie called Nappily Ever After, which shocked me because if you don't know this already, I'm African American, duh, obviously, can't hide that. But my husband is German, like blonde hair, blue eyed German, not American, but has been in this country probably for now 30 years or so. So, for him to pick a movie about a Black person's hair experience, I found very interesting, but it was a rom com, and it was really interesting to watch. And so, the history of Black women and their hair goes far and wide, and it is a sensitive subject to a lot of us. And a lot of the history of our hair and the struggles that we have, and the criticism that we have, the judgment that we have, the curiosity that white people have about our hair, wanting to touch it, wanting to feel it. How do you get it that way? Why can't you get it wet? And all of these questions. That is a whole doctorate dissertation right there. But what I want to talk to you about today is there was a scene in the movie when she was a young girl, and she had shoulder length hair that her mother pressed out because the amount of time, effort, and energy and money that Black women put into getting their hair, their crown, to look amazing will blow your mind if you're not African American and you don't know this already, or you're not Black. And she was at a pool party with all white friends, and her mom was there as well. And I remember being young. If we went in the pool, we only got up to hair, because if you got this hair wet, it just changed completely, and it wasn't towel dry and blow dry and then you've got your hair back. It's a process. And so my point in sharing that with you is that you know she was just so wanting to play with her friends that she jumped in the pool and got her hair wet. And then the reaction of the white people when the texture of her hair changed when it got wet, the anger of her mother, is something that just so resonated with me, and how I grew up and with my friends. And I thought about it, and I woke up this morning and I was like, you know why is it that Black people, most Black people, I won't say most, but the majority of Black people don't know how to swim, or don't know how to swim well? And I never really gave much thought to it, except that we just didn't go, socioeconomically, we didn't have the opportunity, the means, the socioeconomic status to take our kids to swimming lessons, to take summer vacations where they learned how to swim in the pool and all of that. And then I got a deeper thought about it. And Jim Crow laws, racism, whites only drinking fountains, whites only pools, the history of the pools being drained if a black person got in it, or being poisoned, or not being allowed in pools. And I started doing a little research on it. And I found this article. I'll probably share it with you later in the Facebook group, about, why you don't see black swimmers a lot in the Olympics. I think there was one black girl this year. It's just not normal. But there was a swim in the civil rights, 1964, 65. There was a swim in reaction to the Jim Crow laws. And when did this swim in happen? It was June 18th, 1964, at the height of the civil rights movement. I'm just going to read you this article. And there was a Monson Motor Lodge, was a whites only pool. And so because it was the height of the civil rights movement and protest, one act of protest was to jump into the pool. The black folks were jumping into the pool to go swimming in defiance of the whites only racist policy. And what happened is, as the swimmers jumped in, the motel's owner had a fit, and he poured acid into the pool while the swimmers were in there. And everybody was frightened, moved to the center of the pool. And, there wasn't too much water, I think, for the acid to do anything. But this is from people who were there and experienced that. But they dragged everybody out in their bathing suits, and they put them all in jail, and didn't feed them because they didn't have clothes on. And when I was kind of thinking about, why are there a large number of black folks that don't know how to swim? And it's really because of racism, because we weren't allowed to, and because of our socioeconomic status always being stifled intentionally by racist acts and policies. We didn't even have access. It was illegal. And so, I never really thought of it that way. And when I'm sharing with you is how I am waking up to acts of racism and the effect, the long-standing generational effects it has on our lives and our progress. Like, even now to this day, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars getting over my fear of water because I never learned how to swim as a child. I didn't have the opportunities afforded to me to do that, nor were my parents of the mindset to do that, because they grew up in Jim Crow. And so it just never dawned on people. We were just always in survival and never really looking, had more of a thriving mindset, had more of a survival mindset. And, I used to really feel bad and embarrassed about, not knowing how to swim, not knowing how to put my face in the water and get my hair wet without feeling like I'm drowning or out of control. Part of it is me being a control freak too, and water is more powerful than I am. But just some of the things that I naturally got to miss out on because of racist ideals and systems and policies in place. So I wanted to take that moment to share that with you, because I know, a lot of white people just don't get it. They don't understand it. Why don't you know how to swim? Why can't you get your hair wet? And those type of questions tend to make us feel bad and embarrassed because of the fact that most people are not fully made aware of the history of racism and the effects, the long-standing generational effects of racist ideals and policies. So I just wanted to hop on and share that with you. And I also wanted to share an experience I had. I was a guest on someone's Facebook Live the other day. And the woman was white, and I had mentioned something probably about my book, The Intimacy of Race, and why I wrote the book and what inspired me to write the book and really add cultural intelligence to my coaching because of, as a high performer, you cannot be truly successful unless you are culturally inclusive. It really just raises that bar to the next level. And I was sharing that on the Facebook Live, and there was something that I shared, and I could feel her need to defend, explain, and respond in a way that made it about her. And I used it as a coaching opportunity, as a teaching moment, that when someone of an oppressed or minoritized community is sharing their experience with you, to please listen, and listen to hear and understand, not to respond. We don't need agreement or disagreement, but we need to feel, most people, everyone needs to feel seen, heard, and respected. And we need to feel heard without you making it about you and your experiences. And the reason why I share that is that's a go-to when we're feeling uncomfortable or when we're feeling challenged in a way. Not me. I never done that. I've done this, and I've worked with people. I was the loud white woman. I was, the woman who wanted to see racial change and justice. All of these things can come up, and it's still happening. And I know that you may not realize, if this is you and you find yourself doing that, you may not realize the effect that has on the person that is sharing, because you're making it about you. And this goes in any relationship you have, any conversation you have. Don't make it about you when someone is sharing vulnerably with you about their experience, so that you can learn and listen for understanding. I would encourage you to ask clarifying questions if you're not clear, and to be curious and to thank the person for sharing without the need to share your story or defend who you are or to prove that you're one of the good ones. And I'm saying this wholeheartedly because there's so many people still doing that. So many people still doing that. And when someone is sharing a story about race, racism, or their experience, it is not about you. I don't want to hear about your Black friends. I don't want to hear about how you made friends with the Black girl in school and you didn't make fun of her hair, or you swam with her in the water, or whatever it is. Just really learn to listen, people. That's what I'm asking you. It's so important for people to feel heard and not for you to make it about you and prove how good you are. We know you're good. We know your heart's in the right place. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today. Thank you for listening. And you know what? If you want to know more about high performance, cultural inclusivity, and how you can really make conscious choices, decisions, and actions, so that if you are really committed to up-leveling your allyship and making a difference and having an impact and having these deeper conversations and relationships, I want you to reach out to me. I want you to go to talkwitheva.com, talkwitheva.com, and let's have a conversation and see if I can help you, how I can help you, your small teams, if you're a leader, if you're leading teams, if you've got people that you can be a role model for and really lead in this conversation, not only by example, but actually as someone who can ignite and initiate people's growth around this subject. Because the fight is not over, guys. The fight is not over. We still need all hands on deck. So go to talkwitheva.com, and I am happy to share how I can support you to up level not only your emotional intelligence, your social intelligence, but your cultural intelligence as well. All right. Have a great Friday, a great weekend, and I will talk to you next weekend. Bye.